Yo, 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 what is going on, COD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today, finally, I feel like we are gonna maybe get back on track, as I keep saying, but today, yeah, we're attempting. So, we're gonna be covering the Call of Dragons' first official developer Q&A as numero uno. However, this is for April. Now, this should not be confused with, again, if we go to dev feedback and you see it can be confused with developer feedback. This is developer Q&A, right? So again, just bear in mind it is different. Okay, let's start at the top and we'll work our way down. So Asya comes out and says, we'll just kind of go right to the questions. What sort of gameplay will the new season bring? Will we have to explore the mist again? I love how everyone always talks about exploring the mist again. Now, my suggestion on the mist is pretty simple. One, you either allow for people to keep the mist there and then they can search it for rewards, or you allow for them to uncover the mist but not receive any rewards, right? But they should also be at a certain castle level, whether that's 15, 16, 17, 18, whatever, somewhere maybe around there, give or take. I kind of like being able to give them both options where you wouldn't just allow a brand new account to be able to do those things, right? But let's obviously get in here. We're currently going all in on preparations for the new season entitled Stars Reignited. Ooh, interesting. And we're more than happy to share some of the upcoming changes with you. Ooh, even though those are supposed to come out in patch notes. But I get it, giving us a teaser. These include a brand new village occupation feature. Oh, village occupation feature, huh? I wonder if it's like something we would be able to upgrade. Like, my thought was always, man, it'd be cool if you could upgrade the villages that you're connecting to off of or branching off of your flagging territory or roads, I guess. Okay, interesting to see what that'll do. Changes to the pass system. Okay, I'm assuming going in and out of passes. Adding a 6th star to hero. Oh, here they come. Here they come. Adding a 6 star to hero star ratings, higher level resource points, which they just need. I mean, I don't think level 6s at max is going to be the end game forever. Points and behemoths. So I like that. They're going to add higher. So they're adding in more behemoths. This is kind of something that we touted to when, I believe it was one of the last updates that ended up carving out certain sections on the map that players were looking around and noticing that, hey, there's kind of this open pocket in certain parts of the map that make it seem as though this could be where a new behemoth would spawn, and more. We think this new season will really enhance the strategic experience. Due to time constraints, the new season has reduced the number of outlying regions on the map. And Tamaris, we believe this change to the map layout will bring a new dimension to alliance strategies. And for this next season, there won't be any need to explore the mist again. Camps and supplies will be reset and available for you to claim once more. On top of this, we're also working on an all-new season with a new map and new storyline. The new season should come online in Q3 of this year. So what that means is that we probably have at least 3.5 to 4 months until we're going to see that. Q3, well, technically, I apologize. Q3 is really month 6 to month 9. So I'm getting that mixed up. So we could be seeing this in as early as 3 weeks to 3 months to 3.5 months away from now. But let's dive into this first one. So adding the 6th star to hero star ratings, again, this to me is just, it's a spender thing, right? Like, it's not that I feel good or bad about it. It's just you're adding on something that really, let me say, it's not only a spender thing, but it gears in that way because you're adding on something that now requires people to spend more, specifically, and there's 2 parts here, for the locked paywall gated heroes, and then if they want to eventually get the free-to-play heroes faster, right? So that's just why this inherently is one of those things where you're basically allowing for the plateau to increase for the locked or the pay-to-win heroes. So again, look, is this something that we just figured was probably going to happen or could happen? Of course. So I don't know. I lean a little bit more not in favor of these types of additions. I would rather them do other things in the game that are able to expand the reach and engagement within the game without having to do things that are essentially going to cause players or have players needing to really just spend more, right? Whether that's spend at all to max out the paywall gated heroes, or just do these types of things right in those ways. Again, I'm not saying it's the worst thing. I don't really lean in that direction. Okay, then we get to the part here where they say, due to time constraints, the new season has reduced the number of outlying regions on the map of Tamaris. Now, I'm assuming this means Zone 1 regions. Maybe this could be them just removing Darlin, because for all intents and purposes, Darlin does not have access to a level 2 pass going into Zone 2. So I wonder if that's what they mean. Maybe it's just that, and they're just going to have 6 Zone 1 regions that will start. We'll have to obviously wait and see how that plays out. Now let's get to Q2. Why are some aspects of gameplay being reset in the new season? Our original intention was to reduce. I like how they give us an example. I like how they, not an example, I like how they give us a little bit of insight into their mind, into their thought process here on, because this is always something I've advocated for, is like, just explain to people what your reasoning is. It allows you to connect with the community and an audience in a lot more efficient and authentic way. Our original intention was to reduce disparity between players, increase fairness, encourage interaction between alliances, and avoid a scenario where the strongest players continue to get stronger. I like this. I want to play. They have some cojones here. Some Mary-Kate and Ashley, some Olsen twins down there, if you know what I'm talking about, whether they're on the outside or the inside, depending on who you are. I like how they really took a swing here. This is ballsy, right? To say it out loud. It is, because you are, as a company, admitting that you, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, I actually like this, where they're saying we wanted to try to help the disparity between the strongest players only getting stronger, right? And instead make it more of a testament of time and a battle of willingness and motivation and just continuity. Or not continuity. No, that's not the right word that I'm looking for. Yeah, in short, just making it so that players have to stay active, right? Where you can't just basically spend a power up and then you're just always strong. It resets, so it creates an environment where you always have to be active if you want to keep nearly your same level. I don't want to say same level of strength, but at least a little bit, right? It's not like it's a hard stop. It's more of like a soft help in that way. But I like that they swung for the fences here. This is a line that I wonder if they really understand how impactful and how awesome this is to hear, especially if you're someone from the free-to-play side. I mean, again, this is something that you can make an argument can really go either way on how people view this, right? Because this really is a hit at, not a hit, but it's more directed at those who are spending. I don't see this as generally a bad thing, but some people may not, right? They just may not like the idea. But however, Call of the Dragons isn't rock. It's a different game. So again, I love this. As players explore, and I like how they mention increase fairness, encourage interaction between alliances. To be fair, really what resetting seasons does is it just generally requires you just to be active throughout. And if you want to keep being relevant, you have to keep being active, right? You're not going to be able to do anything with like level 1 heroes. I mean, it's just, right? Like, again, it's a good concept if you're looking at it from that perspective. Then we get to, as players explore, fight, and grow, disparities between players begin to form due to the fact that some players are able to spend more time playing than others. This leads to a winner-takes-all situation, making the game less fun for weaker players and alliances. We hope to give players the opportunity to try out multiple strategies. Resets are an important part of our approach. This is, again, why are you just, it's like, it's so weird. Like, do they have different people there? Like, and again, I'm not trying to make it seem like the people here actually play the game compared to maybe the rock devs. Because again, I wasn't super involved with reading through the Q&As. But this is something that I really like that they are saying. Because this to me has a very realistic expectation on you connecting at least a little bit more with your community and understanding that, and this is really what they mean. When they say this leads to a winner-take-all situation, I don't know if I would have used this phrase. I think this is a little bit off-putting because you really have to understand where they're going with this to kind of understand the entire sentence that they're trying to make at this point, is where they say making the game less fun for weaker players and alliances. What they're really saying here is that because of the season resets, it gives those alliances that maybe didn't get to Zone 3 or didn't get to Zone 2 or couldn't capture the dragon, now, especially if they're active and they have a good enough power, or they're able to do recruiting, it gives them an opportunity to potentially go farther than they did the next season because of the resets, right? That's really what it's saying. And that is something that I love. And this is actually something that quite a few kingdoms could really learn from, right? When it comes to how people get deflated, or you'll see people that will leave, or they'll make impulsive decisions and choices when recognizing that the season resets are a complete game changer. And I think the challenge is that not enough people are sticking through, or I don't want to say not everyone, but I'm sure a portion of people in the community are not sticking it through an entire season to understand that the next season could actually play out entirely different than how the first season played out. And opportunities that you may not have had, you could then have. So, again, I really like where they're going right now. And they need to stop doing a decent job right now, because I'm getting a little giddy. Of course, it is also true that resets can be a temporary setback for some players, as they have to get used to the new alliances and new seasonal gameplay. A summary of which gameplay aspects will be reset is available in the season overview section of the Augerstone. We recommend making preparations before the season ends. I also like how they said this. They're not just trying to give you the rainbows, right? They're not trying to give you the flowers all day long, or making everything feel like it's sunshines and rainbows out there. They are also telling you that, look, there is the chance that this can also happen as well on the other side. So again, I just like the realism. I like when there's no fluff, and they're just, again, they're telling you how it is, but in a nice way. Question 3: will there be more opportunities to gain command points? Answer: we totally understand that players need to spend a large amount of CP to gain hero XP and level up their heroes. However, increasing the availability of CP would put further pressure on players and could lead to greater disparities. I actually agree with this for the most part, at least until more data is collected. For this reason, we are approaching this issue with caution. At the same time, we are planning to change how hero EXP can be earned in the next season. After a hero reaches level 50, they will no longer be able to gain EXP through peacekeeping battles, which cost CP. Instead, they will gain EXP through methods that cost stamina. We will keep a close eye on feedback regarding this change. Interesting. This is big. Wow. So basically what they're saying is that you are now no longer going to be able to gain XP from 50 to 60 through traditional means. They're basically saying that you're going to have to go out and fight in order to gain EXP. That is wild. Oh gosh, I'm iffy here, because the first thing that's coming to mind is that if you're someone who spends, you just usually have more opportunities in general to acquire more EXP, because so this is the thing, it's not just about the amount of stamina, it's about the sustainability of stamina. What this means is that someone who's a really strong player, let's say you're T5, your Max Academy, your Max Tech, your Max VIP, your legions are going to be stronger on average than anyone who isn't that. What that means is that you sending a legion out there will be able to sustain longer in battle, meaning having more fights, therefore gaining more EXP, because you don't have to send your legion back as often, or it will not get as killed as fast, which means you're able to have better return on your investment from going out once with your legion, compared to having to go back and then use the full amount of stamina to then send your unit back out from your city. So that's the big thing that really initially comes to mind. I somewhat like the idea that they're trying something different when it comes to gaining hero EXP, but this could also be a big detriment to those who are not. Now, again, maybe they'll scale it appropriately if that's what the plan is, and I think this is just one of those trial and error things, right? They're going to have to see how it plays out. Again, I kind of lean a little bit more where I'm a bit more cautious of it because of that, but I will say that this is the thing. I wish they would have said this. I wish they would have said, at the same time, we are planning to change and test. That would have been better, right? Because then you're using more appropriate language where you're not making it seem like it's locked in, but you want to test how this is. Also, let me add, thank God, hopefully I'm not going to die anymore. I also want to add is that it would have been important here to give an explanation, even if it was just one sentence worth of a reasoning on why you want to test this, on why you want to try this out. Those are two opportunities I think they missed out on this one. Let's get to question 4. I want to make sure that my alliance members are active players. Will you make it possible to view the amount of time a player has spent offline and the last time they logged in? We fully understand that the Alliance, and now let me point out, they picked this question, but they have actually already answered this question in, I believe, the number 3 developer feedback. Just for clarity, which is more of a point towards the dev team. But I also understand that they want to reiterate, they want to reinform, and I'm actually a big fan of that, right? Don't let it be out of sight, out of mind. It's okay to do those things. We fully understand that Alliance leaders would like to be able to judge their members' activity by looking at their offline time and the time of their last login, and use activity as a metric for members in order to improve the Alliance's overall development. I really wonder who's writing these. Like, whoever's writing this, I really want to have a conversation with them and just like talk like macro, views, player psychology, kingdom management, long-term, short-term game sustainability. Like, I'd love to have a conversation with who's ever actually writing this. Just because, again, it's somewhat of a healthy direction of change that I just haven't seen yet. However, players across the globe have differing play habits, and protecting our players' personal data is extremely important to us. In order to prevent overly harsh styles of Alliance management, we have no plans to make this kind of information fully available. We will be introducing leaderboards that display daily changes in players' power and weekly merit totals. We hope that this will help Alliance leaders to better judge members' activity and contributions while avoiding situations where players are judged to be inactive due to differences in global play habits. So, I want to point this out. This is actually an opportunity to me. There actually are a few things that they can do here that will help out what they're trying. So what they're basically saying is that they don't want someone who operates on a 12-hour time difference from you. Let's say you compared to someone in Seoul, South Korea, right? Or Japan. I think it's about 11 or 12-hour time difference. So in this example, if it's 12 p.m. for me, it's 12 a.m. for that person. That's what they're trying to say. They don't want someone to be impacted because they are basically sleeping and obviously need to sleep and cannot be online 24/7 to be negatively impacted by something like that. However, I want to say this is that typically, and again, I'm not going to speak for all alliances out there, but I can tell you for well-ran kingdoms / well-ran alliances with leaders that have experience and self-awareness in this, that usually does not happen. Again, I'm not going to speak for everyone, because I'm sure it probably happens for some. And I understand that they're trying to play a more conservative they're trying to play this out more conservatively in general. But let me opt and provide you with what I think are some solutions. So, I think one of the things that alliances could do to actually improve this would be for players to be able to submit their average online times when they join the alliance. Or there's a section that you can make in the alliance where it can say like player information, right? And players would go there and they would input, it can be checkboxes or some type of consistent format. So that way, once that information is input, the alliance can basically summarize the data and then provide some type of view, whether it's for officers and the leader or for everyone in the alliance. And it would say there's 50 people that are able to be online from this time to this time. There's 20 people that can be online from this time to this time, right? That doesn't actually affect anything. If anything, it gives the alliance good information that they can use to do things such as setting times for behemoth raids, setting times for PvP battles, especially if they know what their peak times are, being able to set times for pass sieges, and more. Especially if you want to do like the AVA events, like Caravan, etc., right? Knowing kind of what your peak activity times to test out. That is something that would actually help out a lot. In addition, I think really the last online time, and I want to say this because I think they are being a little too conservative here. The reason why having something like last login time is impactful is because if we're not talking about people that have been off for 10 hours. We're talking about people that have been off for days, right? I think that's really where the question is being more geared towards. And I think that's where the clarity needs to be really explained more. And I want to point out, there's a lot of actual quality of life things that alliances can have added into their toolkit, especially on the management level for officers and leaders. And I'm really just giving you one or two examples here because there are a lot more that I could say on this. I don't want to obviously make this section too long. But the challenge I would just want to say is my last part before we go into question 5 is for me, the important part, is that when we look at kingdom builders and you look at alliances, to me, there is so much more we can do on adding in toolkits and support options for alliances with how they apply a level of management to their alliance and their players, along with like kingdoms as a whole. I really think that we've only kind of scratched the surface, and the current level and amount of management and like toolkit utilization within an alliance is very bare minimum. And so I'd love to see them eventually add in more, and I'll probably do a separate video on that. Question 5. We have, I'm concerned, I don't even know where the answer is here. Oh, there it is. I'm concerned that our server will become inactive if no new players are able to join. Will Call of Dragons introduce migration feature? In version 1.0.15, we introduced a migration feature for players who have finished at least 2 seasons. Many players on servers currently in Season 1 have asked for the ability to migrate to other servers. However, considering that server merging will take place after the Season 1 season summary, we have no plans to enable migration for servers in Season 1. Enabling migration too early could negatively impact the server merging process. That being said, if you have any other suggestions for cross-server gameplay, we're always happy to hear them. When they say things like enabling migration too early could negatively impact the server merging process, like these are just like the things that I would say, right? And so I'm saying more wording choice, not the point that they're making there. So for me, I will say this. I think that the challenge is because they do not have king or queen options yet in the game, and who knows if that'll ever happen. And that's the decision they had to make. Like, either you're going to allow for the kingdoms a level of autonomy where you're going to give them options to be able to manage migration caps or power caps for people being able to come in or not, and then anything else you add on that. For example, my view is, and has always been, and it will always be this, is that I love the idea of being able to have a king or queen in a kingdom, because of the fact that you can do things like send king's mails, which messages every player in the kingdom. And regardless of how you feel on it, the biggest takeaway from this is that it allows for your kingdom to be impacted in a great positive way, which is through player retention and reduces player drop-off, because you have the opportunity, and I'm not saying every kingdom is going to do this or will absolutely have this, but it gives you the opportunity to do it because of the fact that when you send a mail, it allows you to inform every single player in the kingdom, whereas you have no way to do that otherwise, unless you want to literally try and unionize all the alliances, and then have them send synchronized mails out, and then anyone who's not in any of these alliances, you go in and you message individually. That is a boatload of work that is just that's unrealistic to do. But who knows? Because you have to think about it like this. How many players are still active but are just not in the top alliances? There's usually a good amount, and I'll give you one example. So I used to play in 1196, and there was a good friend of mine where we'd been there for 2-3 years, and this was in Rock. She went out of her way, and I did a little bit too, but she mainly went out of her way, and I'm talking, we're like a year, 2 years in, where she started going around and we basically would scan the Zone 1 regions, and we would go left to right, top down like a book, and we would look for players that had decent power, but just were not in an alliance, and we'd message them to find out if they're still active, are they looking to get into an alliance, and I shiitake mushroom you not, she was able to find about 60 players or so and pretty much fill an empty shell or an empty alliance to about halfway because of this. And I think that opportunity is what I'm really hitting at, that is being missed, because you do not have that ability to do that in this game. Now, I understand that CoD is looking to go in a different direction. They're claiming that it's not really focusing on kingdom management, but really more so on individual alliances and their own isolated managements, kind of in and of themselves. So that's where they're going. But the challenge is that because you're not doing that, you're now causing more player drop-off in general, because you're not allowing for the opportunity for those players to be informed and educated and be given options that they now would not be able to be given, because you're not allowing for something like that to be in place, where you then would add in the ability like a King's Mail to be sent to every single player. So that's my view on it, and that's probably never going to change, because I just truly believe there's more benefits than there are not from doing that. And that's just to talk about one thing. that's involved in this. As far as mentioning the actual migration and what they're hitting on here, which is allowing for migration too early, remember, the last thing here is when you have king or queen, really the way I felt that they should have done it in Rock is they should have made it where the king or queen could accept or deny anyone they want, right? Like everyone has to be vetted, everyone has to be given a yes or no. You can't just have people that come into the kingdom. Why? Because Infinity Kingdom, I'll give you an example. Infinity Kingdom saw this happen, and there was actually one or two groups, at least one that I know of, that was going around and hopping from kingdom to kingdom to kingdom, and they were just a spender group. They were basically just curtailing their power to be able to make it into kingdoms, go in there, kill everyone, wreak havoc, cause war, and leave in a month and go to the next kingdom. So that's something that could happen in CoD because of the fact that they are allowing for or I shouldn't say they're allowing. The system itself, the way that it's most likely going to be set up is that it's going to be a first come, first serve. Anyone can join, and there's not going to be a control. There's not going to be a way to control power cap, right? So honestly, I can make the argument that the system that they're looking to implore is more negatively impacting, or could be more negatively impacting, than if they allowed for a more controlled system, which in my belief is just what it should be. So again, but however, I understand where they're going with this is that yes, essentially if you allow for full migration for a kingdom that was in beta versus a kingdom that's like number 200, yeah, there's going to be a clear power disparity because you could have people that are at 100 million power versus people that are 10 million power, right? Or even a few million power. So yeah, obviously that should not happen, right? Let's be honest. So I think until they have enough kingdoms, like they're going to need a lot more kingdoms to come out before they can really start doing more seasonal tiers. But I think the way that they're looking at it right now to at least mitigate is the right approach based on the system that they're looking to implement. Question 6. Will you be adding a way to reduce the amount of time needed for free healing? Free healing is a major aspect of Call of Dragons, and we pay careful attention to feedback players have regarding the system. Furthermore, we fully understand that the players have the most trouble with the system are those who need access to a large number of units within a specific time frame. E.g., or example, players taking part in large-scale combat. Long waits for free healing can lead to players being unable to participate in combat in time. In response to this, we will be replacing free healing with elixir healing. The new elixir item can be used to instantly heal units. Elixir can be obtained for free, but it cannot be purchased or traded for. Elixir is produced by and stored in your hospital over time. Your elixir production speed is determined by your hospital's level and any relevant policies you may have enacted. But don't worry, it's essentially equivalent to your free heal speed. Your elixir storage limit will also vary depending on your season, so it's important to make plans to store and use it optimally. This way, players preparing for battle can store elixir ahead of time, allowing them to heal large numbers of units at once when needed and get into combat as quickly as possible. This change will not affect the existing resource healing system. The elixir system will be introduced to the game in the next update. More information will be available. So this is interesting. I wonder if, because they're saying that they're going to remove, or it's going to replace free heal speed. Does that mean that you're not, like, because remember, you have two tabs on your hospital. You have free heal speed and resource heal speed. So they're going to remove free heal speed and replace that with an elixir storage limit. So does that mean that the only way to heal troops from now on is going to be by paying resources, and then any of them that want to be healed faster will have to use elixir for it? Like, that's how I'm interpreting it. So if that's the case, I don't really feel like it's really a trade up. To me, I think what would have been better is for them to test, remember, using good choice words here, test, and say, we're going to keep free heal speed in, we're going to keep resource healing in, however, we're going to add this new element, which is elixir healing, or an elixir storage, right? And that'll basically be like what those, oh gosh, why am I forgetting what the name is now in game? But it's the I'm on my scout account, so I can't really show that. But I'm forgetting what it is. But it's the item that allows you to instantly heal troops. And so again, I don't know. I mean, to me, it just seems like keep everything the way it is, but maybe just test adding on this thing that allows for you to instantly heal troops, more. I guess, right? I will say this. I like how they're not allowing for this to be purchased or traded for, which again plays more to the free-to-play aspect. So I really like that they added that in. However, I'm a little bit unsure. I mean, again, we'll have to wait to see how it looks. But for my early synopsis here, that's kind of where I'm going with it. Is to me, it just feels like, why not just add this on to what already exists and test it out in kind of a low conservative state, and then collect the data over a season or two and see how it plays out, and then figure if you need to adjust it or not. Question 7. Currently, you can only create one account per server, so it's not possible to create a new character on the same server. Will you add the ability to delete characters? Thank you for bringing this to our attention. We are currently discussing the best way to handle this issue. Please keep an eye on future update announcements for more information. So this is my thing. I don't really see what the impact is for deleting characters. I mean, like, this is my thing. If it's coded in the game, where let's say I create in a character in Kingdom 200. I play that character for up until, maybe level 10, and I just realize, okay, it's not for me. I can delete the character, but if I was to ever recreate that character or make a new character in that kingdom, the system would recognize that I have already created a character in that kingdom. And even if I wanted to create a new character in that kingdom, it would either continue from where that, like, the easiest way is just to make it to where it continues from where that character left off, right? Or if you're going to make a truly new character on that same account, then everything that you've gained up until that point would not be regainable, right? Or, like, for example, you wouldn't be able to recollect Augerstone chapters if you've already collected some. Like, I think there has to be some, again, this is just where I'm spitballing with it, but that there has to be some type of limitation to where you can't just run rampant with it. Because I wonder if they're not allowing you to delete characters because they don't want people to abuse deleting, creating. But I feel like if you just put a good system in there, it can mitigate, hopefully, a lot of it, if not all of it, from happening. Anyways, because yes, if I was to show you real quick as an example, I can't on this one because this is one of my scouts, but I have like 120 accounts, so look out for an awesome video that'll probably already be out, if not coming out after this one does, depending on when this one is released. Oh no, I'm showing stats. Oopsies, didn't mean to do that. Well, anyways, you guys will probably get a small little sneak peek there. Okay, that is pretty much it for me on this one. Again, a lot of interesting things that happen. I want to obviously hear from you. What do you think about any of the questions and answers? Do you agree? Do you disagree with my opinion on things? Do you have a different one? Let me know anything and everything in the comments down below. That's going to be it for me. As always, until next time, I will catch you later.